Okay, so for my place narrative, I chose Central Park. Some quick little facts about Central Park before we get started. It was the first landscape park in the United States. It was established in 1858. It's 2 miles long and half a mile wide, and it's located in the borough of Manhattan. Here's a little Google Maps image of Central Park to show you how big it is, and as you can see, compared to uh, New York City and all the five boroughs that are in it, it's a pretty big green space. So the history of Central Park begins in the 1800s. In 1853, New York State officials provided funds to purchase the land between 59th and 106th Street. At the time, New York City was just clustered with a bunch of people, and city leaders sought to build a park that would provide New Yorkers with plenty of green space and put New York City on the map, as it wanted to mirror the parks that were in England at the time. So once there was an agreement for the park to be made, numerous families that were living between 59th and 106th Street had to be displaced. Around 1,600 families that included Irish pig farmers and German laborers had to be pretty much moved out of the space that would become Central Park. The land was very swampy and rocky at first, so a design competition was held to create a better landscape for Central Park. Out of 33 entries, the Greensward plan, put in by Frederick Law Olmsted, who actually designed the lakefront park here in Milwaukee, and Calvert Vaux, was selected. Olmsted got inspiration from Birkenhead Park in England, which was the first publicly funded park in England. Construction of the park began in 1858, where workers moved 5 million cubic yards of stone and soil, built 36 bridges and arches, and constructed 11 overpasses over the traverse roads that were man made in the park. They also planted 500,000 trees, shrubs, and vines. By all accounts, the park was a huge success. Only months after the design competition was completed, the first section of the park, the lake, opened to the public in 1858. And around 1865, the park would see more than 7 million visitors annually. In the early 1900s, politics made maintenance of the park very difficult, and it began to decline. But the park itself underwent a revival under the mayor at the time, Mayor LaGuardia, when he appointed Robert Moses as New York City Parks Commissioner. Moses received federal funding to develop massive planning projects citywide, which included playgrounds, ball fields, handball courts, and the Woolman Rink. Moses resigned in 1960, and with no plans left after his resignation to help maintain the park, it started to diminish again. The park became overrun with crowds, meadows became dust bowls, benches and lights were broken, the playground equipment was just started to rot away and started to become unusable, and the 100-year-old infrastructure of the park began to crumble. Many volunteer groups began to see the park as a project to build it back up to what it used to be, and with the support of Mayor at the time, Ed Koch, and Parks Commissioner Gordon Davis, Elizabeth Barlow Rogers became the first park administrator and consolidated many advocacy groups to form the Central Park Conservancy. Today, the Conservancy continues to care for the park's 843 acres and has received over $1 billion in funds and has over 42 million visitors annually. For my place narrative, I decided to go with Light, Holland, and O'Neill's Three Dimensions of Environmental Value, which uses the living from nature, living with nature, and living in nature framework. In the living with nature framework, we acknowledge that it was here before us and after us, and that the environment has intrinsic value to it that must be respected. As mentioned earlier, Central Park has numerous visitors each year, all taking in and being in awe of what the park has to offer. The park itself is very biodiverse, which it's home to many animals like birds, squirrels, turtles, bats, and fish. The creation of this park ensures the safety of all of the animals that call the park home. And New Yorkers, I would say, understand that the park itself needs to be left alone, only just view looking from a distance, and not to interact with any animals that have called it home for quite some time. The park also acts like a green getaway from the human-created urban world. If you've ever been to New York City, it could get pretty hectic, and once you enter Central Park, all of that is left behind, and we start to be at peace and understand the inherent worth that Central Park has for us as humans or for New Yorkers to get away from the hustle and bustle that New York City brings. Living from Central Park. To my understanding, this dimension includes environmental economics. So it's how nature can provide to us resources for our use and for our benefit and for our gain. In this instance, Central Park itself doesn't really have no any common pool resources, nor does it really have any appropriators. So I'm viewing this solely as what ecological services the Central Park provides to New Yorkers. So with that being said, I'm just going to breeze by this section fairly quickly. The park is home to 18,000 trees, in which one tree could absorb more than 48 pounds of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere in a year when mature. This in turn helps keeps the city cool and helps provide clean air for New Yorkers to breathe. With this viewpoint, we are essentially valuing non-market goods and clean air being provided to us by Central Park with the trees uh, becomes a positive ecological service that it provides for us. Living in the environment. In this dimension, it emphasizes the social, cultural, and physical integration of humans with their environment. And I believe this to be the most important dimension in regards to Central Park. Many New Yorkers see Central Park as a place to gather, socialize, and connect across different communities. Countless cultural events take place in the park, like festivals, public art, and theatrical performances. New Yorkers believe the park should be for everyone and anyone. I believe Central Park to be deeply intertwined with New York identity and sense of place. One such festival that takes place in Central Park is Summer Stage. I actually went there with my wife this past year, and it was pretty neat. It's held annually in Rumsey Playfield and other locations across the five boroughs, and hosts towns from many genres of music, including jazz, Latin, indie rock, dance, and many more. This festival allows many New Yorkers to be here and be exposed to numerous artists from around the world. Also, this could be an artist that's from your local neighborhood or your local borough. It celebrates the diversity of the city and presents to the audience a sneak peek into the culture, the lives of many different kinds of ethnic groups from around the world. Summer Stage usually runs from May through October. Here's a video recap I took from the City Parks Foundation website that shows Summer Stage of this past year, or of this year, sorry. Another piece of evidence to show how deeply ingrained Central Park is in New York culture and American culture is the fact that it's one of the most frequently filmed locations in the world. Works like Home Alone 2, Stuart Little, Elf, and then countless other movies, including like numerous rom-coms, have used Central Park as a film location. Numerous songs reference Central Park as well, and one of the more famous ones, this one came to mind first, was John Lennon and Yoko Ono's Central Park Stroll. There are many other songs and many other movies that have used Central Park and are just referenced in some way, but there's just so many to count. So with that being said, it's safe to say that the international reputation that the creators of Central Park were looking for have definitely surpassed expectations. So more proof to show how important Central Park is to the culture of New Yorkers. Here are some quotes from New Yorkers about Central Park. The first one: "It's the calm in the storm that is New York City. I think that every New Yorker has connection to Central Park by Nina B." And Central Park is a microcosm of the city itself. Each part is like a different neighborhood by Philip S. And as a New Yorker myself, I would say that I'm pretty proud that we have Central Park in our state. I've been going to it since I was a kid, and I take my kids to it now, and it's always amazing to see them whenever we cross the street to get into the park, how amazed they are that they could see a concrete jungle behind them and then nature just directly in front of them. And it's just amazing to see them run around. Every like parent that brings their kid to the park just commingling, playing, and then how busy the park is too, and just how everyone just respects its beauty. There's never trash on the ground or anything like that, and it's always just it's calming. It's very calming. So, in conclusion, Central Park is a very biodiverse area that is home to many wildlife. Wildlife that isn't meant to be interacted with, left alone. And New Yorkers respect it, visitors respect it, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. It has also cemented itself as a cultural hub to allow connections to be made within the community and has a global reputation as one of the most famous places, not just in the country, but in the world. The Central Park Conservancy will make sure that the park will be here for us and those after us. They've done a fantastic job of maintaining the park's healthy look, and the park should be enjoyed by future generations to come.